It was a quiet Thursday night. I came home from work to an empty apartment. That was strange, because usually when I got home, Alex would already be sitting in front of the TV, watching the game. But that day, the lights were off, the TV was off, and Alex was nowhere to be found. Alex was my roommate, and I remember it like it was yesterday. That morning, he had said, "I'll wait for you later. Our team is playing tonight." I went from room to room, calling him on his phone. His bed was made, his clothes were gone, as if he had never lived here. I called the police to report his disappearance, but they told me I had to wait 48 hours and not to worry, that my friend was probably out at a bar. I didn't believe them. Alex always told me if he was going somewhere, and that night our team was playing, he would never miss that game. I didn't know what to do. I opened a beer and sat down in front of the TV. Suddenly, the lights in the house started flickering on and off. I grabbed a baseball bat and walked through the house, checking every room. The garage door was open, even though I knew I had closed it earlier. I didn't find anything suspicious, so I closed it and returned to the living room. That night, I barely slept. I had the feeling that something strange was happening, like someone was watching me, but whenever I turned on the light, no one was there. The next morning, Alex still wasn't home. I went to the kitchen to make coffee. When I took the milk from the fridge, I noticed a note. It said, "Don't forget, I never really lived here." I dropped the note and stood there in shock. When I finally came to my senses, I grabbed my keys and went to the police. I showed them the note and told them something was wrong, that I couldn't reach him. When I gave them his full name, the officer looked confused and asked, "Are you sure it's Alex Mayer?" I said yes, I was sure. She typed something into the computer, then looked at me again and said, "Sir, there is no record of anyone named Alex Mayer from New York, age 27. Are you sure the information is correct?" I stared at her, stunned. Just a few weeks earlier, Alex had been stopped for drunk driving. I had driven him around after that because his license was taken. I told her this, but she found nothing. She looked at me like I was crazy. I didn't know what to do. I just grabbed the note and left. I went to a nearby bar that Alex visited often. When I walked in, the bartender greeted me and asked if I had finished the contracts at work. At first, it seemed strange. She looked at me like we were old friends, and how would she know about the contracts? I figured Alex must have mentioned it. I told her I had, then asked if she had seen Alex. She smiled strangely, even though I hadn't said anything funny, and said, "Don't be ridiculous, I'm busy." I told her I was serious, that I was really looking for him. She repeated that she didn't have time for my nonsense and walked away to another customer. I looked around the bar. Alex wasn't there, so I went home. At home, I tried calling Alex again. Nothing. The messages we had were gone. Every photo of him in my gallery was gone too, as if someone had erased everything. I sat on the couch, not knowing what to do. Over the next few days, things got worse. One morning, a window in my house was broken. Another day, the garage door was open again. A week after Alex disappeared, in the morning, the closet in my bedroom was open. On the floor lay a bloody shirt and pants, and a small bag. I took the bag, opened it, and found a knife wrapped in a cloth. I ran to Alex's room. The blood was on the walls and the bed. I ran downstairs to the kitchen to call the police, but there was a new note on the fridge. I had to do it. She wouldn't listen to me. "Get rid of the evidence and don't call the police. Your fingerprints are on it too." I froze. Who had Alex killed? I stood there with my phone in my hand for 10 minutes before I noticed the blood on my own hands. Whose blood was it? I looked around the house in panic. Then I heard noise outside. People were gathering across the street. Some were crying, some were screaming. I washed my hands, changed my clothes, and went outside. I heard someone saying they had found a body under the bridge. Oh God, it is Susie. The name sounded familiar, but I couldn't remember who it was at first. Then I saw the missing person poster. When I stepped closer, I saw her face. It was the bartender from the bar. I looked across at my house. I remembered the knife and the bloody clothes. I felt sick. I ran inside and vomited into the sink. I started panicking. What if Alex had killed her? I didn't know what to do. Then it hit me. My fingerprints were on the knife, on the phone. I was terrified the police would suspect me. I put everything in a trash bag and cleaned the entire house with bleach. I didn't sleep for nights. The notes disappeared. Strange things stopped happening. Almost a month passed since Susie's body was found, and the killer was never found. The police came to question me, asking if I knew her and if I had seen anything strange the night she disappeared. I thought about telling them again about Alex, that he knew her better than I did, and that he was probably the one who killed her. But then I remembered that when I went to report his disappearance, they thought I was crazy. Who would believe me now? That I had a roommate who killed someone and left the evidence for me to clean up? If I went down that path, they might even accuse me of being involved in the murder. So I told the police that I didn't know her and that I hadn't seen anything unusual. They looked at me and said, "Sir, are you sure? Some of the regulars at the bar said you two were close." I stared at them in disbelief and explained that I had maybe been to that bar 3 times this year, and we had never had any conversation. The longest conversation we had was when I asked her if she knew where Alex was, and we exchanged only a couple of sentences. Of course, I didn't mention that part. I just told them they must have the wrong information. I was never a big drinker, just a beer occasionally. Unlike Alex, who drank from morning till night. But after everything that happened with Alex and Susie, I started drinking every day, just so I could sleep at night. After 3 months, I knew I had to move on or it would destroy my life. Alex was gone. The police had no records of him. At work, people thought I was losing my mind because I kept talking about someone who didn't exist. I had to forget everything. I cleaned the apartment, shaved, showered, and went for a run. That night, I turned on the TV and watched the game. At some point, I must have fallen asleep. Then I heard, "Yes, we won. We're going to the finals." I opened my eyes. My team had won, and I smiled. I couldn't remember the last time I smiled. Then I looked down. There was a beer in my hand. I looked around the house, stunned to see a beer in my hand. I knew I hadn't taken it. I got up, poured the beer down the sink, and went to bed. Over the next few days, my head ached terribly. I assumed it was the alcohol leaving my system. On Sunday morning, I woke up facing the window. There was a sweet, feminine perfume in the room. I sat up on my bed, and in the next moment, I jumped and screamed. There was a girl sleeping in my bed. I had never seen her before. "Hey, why are you screaming?" she said. I asked, "Who are you, and what are you doing in my bed?" She looked half asleep, smiled, and said, "You finally let me stay over. Don't you remember?" I told her I didn't know what she was talking about, and that she had to leave. She kept saying everything was fine, that I knew her, and that Alex will explain everything to me. I looked at her in shock and said, "Alex is gone, and I have no idea who you are." When she left, I noticed a new note on the fridge. "You can trust her. She knows our secret." I stared at the message, wondering what secret he was talking about. Had Alex told her that he killed Susie and that I got rid of the evidence? Why would he do that? I grabbed a bottle of whiskey and drank as much as I could. I started having flashes, like I was blacking out and waking up every few seconds. I was furious. I snapped. I tore the note and threw it in the trash. Then I poured the rest of the whiskey down the sink and turned back toward the fridge. And there it was. Another note was already there. My eyes filled with tears. It said, "I told you I never really lived here. I only live in your head."